companies are often seeking to create efficiencies as they grow. I looked up the definition because that's not a word that I use all the time, but through various sites, the general idea was using resources to reduce waste of energy and increase potential outcomes. In our day-to-day lives, we have various tools at our disposal to increase our efficiencies, and some of those can be our allies, while some of those can be our enemies, especially when it comes to our finances. So think of it this way, our allies are moving us closer to our goals. Our enemies derail or distract us from our goals. So I thought it would be interesting to look at ways that we can use automations or efficiencies as an enemy, and then also ways that we can use them as an ally in our financial journey. So appreciate you, Chad, for coming today and helping me go through this. Sometimes I wonder when I'm writing these if what face I'm going to get when I talk through it, and you have not disappointed as usual. So
no, I think efficiencies are a good thing, and if you think about over our lifetime,
oh my goodness,
the difference in the change of efficiencies, I'll get that word out right. What we've seen over our lifetime is pretty drastic, just in our short term, right?
Just the technology that we have access to. What just came to mind to me is I have this app that I use for my family's calendar that I would struggle so hard if I had to keep a physical calendar with all the different things that go on, because I have the benefit of being able to have my 16-year-old and my 14-year-old put their own activities in there for me. So as they get their calendar for choir or they get their calendar for their sports, they can go ahead and put it in, and I don't have to chase that. Their work calendar, they put it in. So I'm not chasing them to know what's going on all the time. I would be so lost without it.
Yeah, I think that's a good one to start, is time efficiencies. You know, there is a lot of things in this world. We'll get to the financial efficiencies shortly, but I think there's a lot of time efficiencies. The one that I thought of first is fast food.
Ooh.
Think about the time efficiency.
You're stepping all over my toes.
Well, but think about the time efficiencies that we have seen in our lifetime from fast food. The amount of fast food options now compared to when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. And it's an efficiency. How quickly can I feed myself, because I have all these other tasks that I'm wanting to try to accomplish, and also I don't want to wait.
And that could probably fit under both the enemy and the ally
it can
side,
be both. It
depending
can be both
on the circumstances.
But I will use it as an enemy before my personal self, because a lot of times I use that time efficiency to run through fast food, and it's probably not the best option or healthiest option for me, and that's my own choosing. But I would say, number one, the fast food efficiency, dating back to whenever you want to go back to now, the availability of how quickly we are able to
Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry.
Go through drive-thrus.
Yeah.
All the way.
I think that when I was a kid, we would have pizza on Fridays, and it was like a big deal because we just didn't eat out otherwise.
Yep. But now it's so easy. It's quickly you can feed a family just with running through a drive-through. Online ordering, as recently as online ordering, the ability to go to the internet and figure out how much something costs.
Yes.
And order it and have it sent directly to your home without you ever traveling to the store. That's a huge efficiency in our time.
When I was doing some research for the show, I actually watched a TED Talk, and the guy was talking about how he was hired on at this firm to increase their profits. And one of the things they told them was, we need to make the barrier that holds them back from buying quickly lower. So that barrier to buy had to be lowered so that people would be less likely to think through the purchase, basically.
Yeah.
And that's it. When we're making purchases online, there are a ton of things that just make that so easy.
Yeah. And that's what if you probably talk to any marketing team, anyone, making it easier on someone to complete the task, you're going to get more participation, period. And so I think, those are two efficiencies that I thought of, just outside of, when you're talking about time efficiencies. And then when you start getting into financial efficiencies, just the way the financial markets work now, the efficiencies are crazy different compared to like maybe when John got in the business, umpteen years ago, to where we're at now with just trading, just the service on our accounts for our clients. We can quickly send them a distribution. We can sell funds. We can purchase funds. So there's tons of efficiencies that we've seen just in our industry as far as trading. Some good, some bad, right? The 24/7 access to your account view.
Yes.
So that is an efficiency that used to you had to wait on a quarterly statement or maybe a
monthly statement,
a monthly
at best.
mailed out statement, and then by the time you get it, it was
already outdated.
It was outdated. So there's a lot of efficiencies that we've seen just in this industry that can kind of change some of the decision making and some of the things that you do financially.
So let's talk about some of those that we see as an enemy, something that can derail your finances. One of them that we've mentioned in the past is what we call quick pay options on websites. Just the other day, I was ordering something for a Christmas gift, and I was really just kind of shopping, but then I saw that I could use my Apple Pay. I was like, I'll just go ahead and get it. Didn't even really think through the total cost, because to me, it was like, oh, I can just get it now while I'm thinking of it. Don't have to think of it again. But it increases your mindless spending when you don't have to slow down, go get your card, enter the data.
Write a check or take cash.
Do you have checks? I have checks. I'm still old enough to have checks, but I know a lot of people don't even carry them anymore.
Yeah, but just think about that efficiency of transferring money that quickly, whereas we used to have to make a purchase, either write a check or use cash. So it's just that efficiency has given us the ability to do it so much faster and so much easier without really conscious.
Yes, and so that's increased mindless spending. Impulse buying is higher. So the solution we would offer to you for that efficiency, if it's getting in your way, is to remove your information from your wallet. Remove it from your Google Pay. Remove it from your Apple Pay. That way, you're not having that quick buy. You can pause, think about whether it's worth getting up off the couch and going to get your purse, which has literally held me back from buying things, to be honest with you.
Admit that.
Oh, man. It's just like, I'm just like, I can get it later, and then I move on.
No, we've all done that.
So if that's something you're struggling with, that's one that you can employ. Another one is those quick approval store credit cards. Have you had that experience where you're like, hey, you can save 20% if you get the store credit card today?
Oh yeah, there's a sports store that is notorious for that, and that's okay, right? Because it is a way that they are marketing. They're adding clientele and making it easier for the buyer. So, that's something that they want to offer, but you have to be able to walk up there and have a plan prior to making that purchase, or that quick incentive of 0% will get you.
Yes. And what happens to me, and why I've had to just have a we do not do this rule in my family, is I forget they exist. I actually recently, about 6 months ago, I shop at Sam's all the time. And so I decided I was going to get a Sam's card because you accrue points. Family our size, you do that. So I got it, and somehow it got sent to an old address. So I never received the statement. I went into the store to try to pay it, and they were like, oh, you have to have the card. I was like, I don't have the card. I can't pay it. So I ended up paying a late fee that thankfully I was able to get refunded, but I was going to pay a late fee and interest purely because I never got the card. So it's easy to forget that the card even exists and miss payments. So just say no to the special offers, please. Because they are just intended to entice you in. Close those accounts if you find that you struggle to manage them, or set up reminders in your phone to make sure that you pay them on time and don't end up paying those late fees.
Use that efficiency, right?
There you go. Set your reminders.
But not as an enemy. And then also you got the buy now, pay later. So it's another version of the credit card. We talked about this often on the show, and it's basically a deferred payment.
Right.
Payment plan. It's that layaway. It's that new efficiency of layaway that we talked about. So, being letting those overcome you, forgetting maybe a payment. There's nothing wrong with using certain programs as long as you have an efficient way to track. We'll use that. And
I think people too need to focus on what they're actually paying for the item, because it's really easy to get focused on that monthly payment amount or that biweekly payment amount and not realize I just spent $200 on, a pair of sweatpants. It was, 4 easy payments of $50, but it was $200. So take the time to consider the full amount and use them sparingly. Also read the fine print, because some of them, if you miss a payment, those fees can add up really quickly. So there are some of the efficiencies that we see as a little bit of an enemy, but there are many pieces of your financial journey that can be automated to help you make more progress efficiently. So we're going to talk through some of those too, which are the ones we get excited about.
Yeah, and when you're going down that retirement planning, we try to, for our clients, we try to be very efficient. Number one, you be efficient with their time, and then also be efficient with their goals, making sure that they have an easy way. Again, we go back to, if you make it easy for someone to be able to do something, they're more likely to engage and do that.
Yeah.
So whenever we're working on retirement plans and retirement planning, we try to set up automated systems so people can line their goals up and be lined up for success.
Yes, and the first place to start is your employer plan. You get that directly withdrawn from your paycheck, so you don't have to miss a contribution, and you can amp it up by saying, a lot of them will allow you to automate where you increase the amount you're putting there at regular intervals. So you can set it where every year it goes up by 1 or 2% until it reaches a maximum of some sort, so that you have automated that growth over time. And on your IRAs, you can set up systematic contributions and systematic purchases. So it's just coming straight out the bank at the same time every month or every couple of times a month, and you don't have to think to write a check.
Yeah, and that helps with dollar cost averaging, because that's one of the big proponents that we are of dollar cost averaging on a monthly basis into those retirement accounts. Those automated systems can help you do that. There's a lot of things in the investment world that, we talked about the high frequency trading and those type of things. But it's also the efficiencies in our world has led to lower fees.
Yes.
And so that's another positive that we have seen because of the efficiencies and the management of funds. We have seen lower fees in investments, go down. Yes. Whereas a lot of goods and services have actually increased in cost. That is one of the things in the financial markets that we've been able to benefit from. Some of the efficiencies is the lower fees.
Yes. And another item for efficiency for me is I have every single bill on auto draft. I have never missed a bill because I didn't have the money to pay it, but I have missed a bill because I forgot to write the check on time. So for me, setting up auto draft, and I take it to the extreme. I have my tithe auto drafted from my bank. I don't want to forget it. So it's just simpler for me to just have it sent. And if you're working on a debt plan, you can do the same. A lot of banks allow you to set up an automatic check to go out consistently. So you can use that to pay that bill and put the memo with the account number and all of that. You can super simplify that. Yeah,
I'm down to one check a month, and I'm probably not ever going to get away from that one check bill pay, but I'm down to one. But majority of my bill payments are all, like you said, automated, and that just, again, helps with the efficiencies, not only a time efficiency, but also getting away from any kind of late fees or, it's never good to get your electricity cut off, right?
No.
So that would not be an efficiency. And so the other thing we got is establishing an emergency fund, being efficient in having that auto drafted.
A lot of people don't realize that your payroll can be split among several accounts typically. Most employers can do that. So you can have it direct deposited to a separate bank account. So it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and it's just growing. And if you're trying to build emergency savings or general savings, having it that way might be more efficient for you as well. And another one is income and expense tracking. There are a ton of different apps out there that can help you track your spending. And all you have to do is go in like once a week and just go, oh, that was for groceries, that was for this, that was for that. And then it can give you reports. There's one when I was doing a lot of 1099 work where I could take photos of my receipts. It would track my mileage for me. There are tons of things you can do there. And then tracking your progress towards retirement. There are apps that you can use for that too. Putting everything in one space, whether it be assets or expenses, it's super helpful for just getting a bigger picture of where you're at.
Yeah, and there is a lot of software out there to help you run the numbers and do future projections. And there you can kind of get the paralysis by analysis, right? But there are some really good apps and softwares out there to kind of help you know if you're on track and be able to help you kind of give you some positive outlook moving forward to keep you on that automatic contributions.
I would say buyer beware. Many of the retirement printouts that I see from clients that say, well, you could have X number of dollars at retirement. Look at the fine print because they're often based off of really unrealistic rates of return. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. It might be good to have somebody help filter that content for you. Well, Chad, we're at the end of our time. It's time for our last 2 cents. What do you have?
Well, there's a lot of good efficiencies out there. And I think too much of something can be bad, right? So just manage and make sure that those good efficiencies you're utilizing, and some of those too good to be true efficiencies, step back and evaluate why you're just using them.
I thought about, when it comes to efficiency, when you're going on a long car ride, it's really great to use cruise control to help give you a break from, having the ups and downs and the speed, but you still have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. So even when you're using efficiencies, make sure that you're doing something to still keep control of the overall direction of your financial journey. It's super important to make sure you don't go off the rails. So thank you guys so much for joining us today on Talking Sense. Hope you learned something about efficiency that could help you create some great momentum in your journey. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening to Talking Sense. And if you like what you hear, make sure and subscribe to the podcast to get all the newest episodes. The Gym Wealth team is available to you 24/7 at info@getreadyforthefuture.com or by calling our offices at 866-653-PLAN. That's 866-653-7526. And while we like to have fun here, we're also financial advisors, and that means disclosures. You should personally consult a financial advisor before making any investment, and no strategy can assure success. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Independent Advisor Alliance. Independent Advisor Alliance and Gym Wealth Financial Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.